Morning, morning, Roxanne. Roxanne, I'm seeing my brooms. Morning to Alberta, Sampat, Pauline Buckman. Morning, J Pimples 66. Good morning, Lisa Atwater. Morning, morning, Terrence Swan. Morning. Showers of blessings. Where can I find that, Roxanne? This heat we've been having for these past few days, I could sum it with showers of blessings. See. Morning to the folks on Facebook, all of the folks on YouTube. Morning, John Edwards. Good morning to you, Christopher Sylvester. Oh, way up to cool. Right, all right. I have not been up that way for many years. I think I need to make a drive up on that side soon. Morning to Jennifer Ferron. Good morning from Florida. Yes, I'll be there next week. Jennifer, yeah. Long overdue. Sedena Kwashi, good morning to you. Alison Samuel. Morning, Alison. Belated birthday greetings to Alison Samuel, who is one of our loyal fans, loyal listeners. Morning, Diane. Gillan Jackson. Morning, Kevin Thomas. Morning to you, Alison Boyce. Cassiel Alves. Good morning. Gemma Alexander. Morning to you. Deborah Edgehill. D. Pear. Morning, Carol. Carol Myers. Good morning to you. Claudette Jeffrey. Let's see. Donna Rogers. Good morning. Morning, Rena. Carol Boyce John. Good morning to you. David Clark. Morning. Arlene Lewis. Claudette Jeffrey. Good morning to all of you guys. Let's see what I have here. So I'll come to that. What's the time then? 6:33. Yeah, so I have another morning today because traveling next week, so I have 1,010 things to do. Yeah, so not enough hours in the day. Phyllis Antoine, good morning to you. Right, Roxanne, there's my brooms. We still sweeping, Roxanne. We're sweeping for the next 2 years. Yeah, no rest, no let up. So, let's see here. Let me pull this thing up here quickly. Before I go there, let me see. Yeah, just basically 2 things I wanted to touch on this morning. Yeah, let me see here. Right. Nothing there. Nothing there. Right, just now. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Small. Cooking with gas there. Bernadette Yates, good morning to you. Sarah Richards, Alicia Horsford. Walker, morning. Morning, Joy. Okay. Right. So let me get into it one time because it's already 6:34. Dr. DCA, morning. And Angela Carty, morning. Right. So 2 things to deal with. Let me put this thing on one time. Yes. So a few weeks ago, the Douglaya Anil Roberts did a live, one of his many. I think it was on Douglaya Politics or Doubles and Coffee. I can't remember which one. Both of them is 2 propaganda things that he has, and he was making the point that the PNM is imploding. That his information is that is a catfight in the PNM for leadership. That persons are starting to wrangle because they all who want to take over the party after Dr. Rowley decides to step down and is bacchanal in the PNM and all kind of thing. And yeah, but the UNC is strong. UNC been proud. Okay. Well, it doesn't seem all is well in the House of the Rising Sun. In fact, it hasn't been that way for quite a while, but there seems to be some developments taking place, and people are only too happy to share insider information in terms of the Kuchuru, that taken place. Just now, let me get this here. So I mentioned to you all on Sunday, Masha Walker, the former Patong in chief. I have to call her that because she ain't Patong in chief no more. Whereas before, she was quick to run out herself. Anytime the UNC is challenged, she have a position and she has a point to make. She's not doing that anymore. In fact, now she and the leader, Warren, and apparently she is getting support because it seems the scales are finally starting to move from the eyes of certain people within that party with respect to the need for Kamala to go. But we say on this side, let Kamala stay. Please, at least until 2025. After general election 2025, well, they could do what they want. Yeah? If they want to wrap her in a pretty bow and get rid of her, no problem. But up until 2025, please, we beg in, as the Nigerians would say, I beg you, keep her there. All right? So let me just speak to some of the more recent developments. So first of all, they had well, you all noticed for the last 2 Mondays, there was no Monday night forum meeting, right? They had none last night because they had some emergency meeting because apparently it has some bacchanal taking place. Up to now, they're still trying to sort out with respect to Roxanne, like it's Sandy Rain by my side. Thank you so much. Just talking about that, but it has finally arrived. Yeah, so apparently they're having some bacchanal up in Sangre Grande over who should be the next chairman or mayor. Remember, under the new local government reform, everybody or chairman and everybody is now mayor, right? So it seems Mrs. Prasad Bisessa's original choice was one Joseph Tony. Everybody know he. Anytime you see the video of the 1990 coup when the insurrectionists stormed the parliament and you see him looking around to find out what is going on, right? Well, he's aged now, of course. But he was given the task to bring home the Sangre Grande seat for the UNC. And he was successful, let's face it, because the PNM lost a seat up there. So we went into the election 5-3 and came out 6-2. So we're just holding on to two seats there, unfortunately. I've heard a lot of people talk about this video with this clip with Terry Rondon where he would have shed tears for what had happened there. I haven't had the pleasure, well, let me not say the pleasure, but I haven't had opportunity to see it yet. But, it was truly unfortunate. It would have been great if we could have come out there with at least back to 4-4, but we are now at 6-2. So clearly some work needs to be done in Sangre Grande. We will see how that goes. But as I said, there's some infighting taking place up there where some of the councillors are saying they want Joseph Tony, but apparently there's the intention of putting somebody else, some Kumoto Manzanilla, to serve as chairman, and that causing some upheaval up there, right? I understand Mrs. Prasad Bisessa is besieged, but she's dealing with some problems in San Fernando too, with somebody that she wants to put as alderman, and she getting some problems there too. So it's all over. So they still can't decide who to put where and all of that. Meanwhile, the PNM doing what they have to do, right? We just waiting with respect to Arima. I think it's just some information or confirmation from EDC for the mayor and deputy mayor to be appointed. But anyway. But let me read this here. So apparently, I don't know if this is genuine or not, but there was seemingly some pledge that was supposed to be signed last night that says, I pledge to always obey our leader, Kamala Prasad Bisessa. The leader knows what is best for me and the party. To question the leader is to be a traitor to the party. Anyone who criticizes the one leader, the true leader, Kamala Prasad Bisessa, is my enemy. And I pledge always to put my party, the UNC, led by the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisessa, before country. That's space to sign. So I don't know if it is that somebody trying to curry favor with Kamala and probably thought this would be a good idea. So somebody who goes by the title UNC whistleblower wrote, I am writing to you as a whistleblower. So they wrote to Mrs. Prasad Bisessa, aiming to preserve our personal identities within the UNC while shedding light on a potentially perilous situation. Recent developments have unveiled a disconcerting narrative involving Viliana Ramutasinghe, a figure on the UNC San Fernando list of all women. So this Ms. Ramutasinghe apparently causing some problems. And Mrs. Prasad Bisessa's response was, "My decision is final. I want no opposition. Work with Viliana, please. Kamla Prasad Bisessa, SC, MP, please replace comma by an A, leader of the opposition, Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago." So she flexing her muscle. But they like to say Keith Rowley is a dictator and the PNM is a cult. But when you create a party pledging support, your unfailing and unstinting fealty and loyalty to Kamla Prasad Bisessa. So in 2015, their campaign was, but it was centered around Mrs. Prasad Bisessa. That was the title of the campaign for 2015. Then we saw it in 2020. The focus is on Kamla Prasad Bisessa. Local government election again, she was the star of the show. Everything is Kamla. She come with stand your ground, load up the matic. Everything is the leader, the great leader. You don't go against Mrs. Prasad Bisessa. You see, every time she comes into the room, everybody had to stand up and his applause and all who jostling because they want to touch her and all this kind of thing. As I heard David Marad say yesterday, he did an interview with Darren Marcel. The UNC has now become a cult of personality where you are obligated to serve Mrs. Prasad Bisessa. Right? That's why they call her the queen, the mother, the Maharani. She's the mother of the nation for them. Only for them. Right? Not for the rest of us. We will share that with you. And PNM, you know, we call him Dr. Rowley, father of the nation, and he's the king, and all them kind of shippings. We don't go down that route. And Dr. Rowley don't look for them thing either. So they try to, you know, recently create a false equivalency to say, you know, look at how Kamla is. Every time she comes to a Monday night forum meeting and she walks into the room, you know, she has to take the time to stop and hold and shake hands and touch children's face and take pictures with the kids and hug them up and all of that foolishness. And when Rowley come in the room, he just walk in like he's some kind of lord and he going up on the stage. Because the man understands, okay, we have a meeting, time is of the essence, time is precious. I came in while somebody was speaking. It would be rude of me to take up 10, 15, 20 minutes, shaking hand and greeting people, and the speaker who is at the podium waiting for me to come and have a seat so that they could resume what they were talking about before I came in. It's only common sense, because the person could lose their train of thought. Unlike what obtained recently, I saw on a platform with Philip Alexander, right? You know, he likes to put himself as if he's different from everybody, right? So, as usual, we know what the norm is. When you have these public meetings, the political leader usually arrives late. So, it's par for the course. They had a meeting, a man talking. The man come with his prepared speech. Next thing he hear Tassa playing and a whole dance troupe come up in front and start to dance in front of the stage, and he confused, he don't know what is going on. And the young lady who was master of ceremony said she come and whisper in his ears and tell him, well, Philip reach. So he had to announce that, and then Philip comes on stage and the man had to walk off. In the middle of his speech, we don't have that. You understand? But anyway, I'm the point. So Mrs. Prasad Bisessa is trying to stamp her authority. So as she said here, my decision is final. I want no opposition. Work with Viliana, please. Stop that. Well, that is not sitting well with some people. And apart from Masha, it seems, I spoke to you all a few days ago about Larry Lala, recently appointed senior counsel, who in 2015 wrote a rather stinging press release calling for Mrs. Prasad Bisessa to go. He identified the weaknesses of the partnership. He spoke about the poor governance that took place under Mrs. Prasad Bisessa, and he called for her to, time for her to leave, to step down, to do the honorable thing, as most political leaders would do when the party lose in the way that they did. But she didn't step down. 2020, he come back on the scene and he's supporting her, talking about, again, comparing Dr. Rowley to Mrs. Prasad Bisessa, and that, she's so great, and Rowley is a poor leader. And Kamla embodies all of the characteristics of a very good leader. But look at Rowley. And today, you're back in the situation to go again. In 2020, it was that he was supposed to be the next Attorney General. So he decided, well, all right, man, I'm going to throw my hat behind. That failed. So once again, he's now throwing his hat in the ring in a different way. Announcing that if Mrs. Prasad does not step down in 2024, he intends to challenge her for the leadership of the party. Not that that is likely to have much success. Because again, as Devant Maharaj said, cult of personality. It's not about the party. It's about the leader, right? It was the same thing under Pandey. Remember? They was in love with Pandey. Pandey was the big, and then eventually, just doing this thing okay. Give me 1 second. You had the coalition that came together, all of them now, to get rid of Mr. Pandey. And then Jack created Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, similar to what, as we go about just now, what Sinju did with Farley Augustine. And we come into Farley. Yeah. As you people say, like, Farley like his P14. And he need anyway, we come into it. Yes. Huh? So let me finish with it. So Larry Lala is now again calling for Mrs. Prasad Bisesa to step down. She must go. And Masha Walker has now found herself in a fight with Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. In fact, I see Masha put up a picture with Kamla in a red dress. A picture that, I don't know, I know the PNM was circulating that before, and they had put a balize on the dress. But Masha seems now to want to fight with Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. And let me just share it all here, right? Let me get it here. Just now, give me 1 second, let me put it. So this is what Masha posted up yesterday. Regardless of how great Brian Lara was, had he stayed in the crease long past his prime, his legacy would have been ruined by no one but himself. Hislop, York, and Lara have all moved on to new roles in their sport because time waits on no man, and they have all had to face retirement from the game. I'm sure it was hard for them, but they held their heads up high and they found new roles, new ways in which to contribute. I love you, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I really do. I think you have given your entire life to this country. I think you have served better than many. I can see you doing a tour, telling your story and inspiring others to serve. Okay. I, for one, would love to sit and listen to how you managed a home and a country all at once. I'd love for you to open up to women. Tell us how you rose to the top in a man's world. Not many women can do that. Even fewer can boast of doing it with their family intact. Many athletes go on to ruin their legacies because they refuse to leave the game while they're on top. I urge you, out of nothing but love, you're at risk of ruining your legacy. The party is full of young, bright, vibrant, fresh faces, and you have done well to pick them. It's time to allow them to take over the reins. I beg you, do not allow your legacy to be ruined. This is Masha telling Kamla, it's time to go. I love you, but you've outlived your usefulness. She goes on again to write, best they stayed quiet. Leadership must lead by example. Gone are the days of do as I say, not as I do. Apparently, Kamla didn't get that memo. I wrote, gave my reasons, did not even get an acknowledgement, as is this best practice for a party wanting to serve? Now, I bring all of this to your attention, right? To understand that if these people can't hold it together internally, how the hell they expect to run a country? How they expect to run Trinidad and Tobago in 2025? And right now, you can't even govern your own party. It have a set of infighting among UNC. So when all you bring in the partners, NTA, and well, I see Pep say he willing to join with anybody for the betterment of the country. So let me say all managed to bring in Pep. And let's say OWTU decide they want to throw the lot in with Ole in 2025, as they did a couple of weeks ago, right? If Ole in the party can't get along, how the hell the coalition going to get along? And we saw it in 2010. It wasn't long before Abdullah took up his Jahaji bundle and left. Because as he said, there was corruption in the party. They brought it to Mrs. Prasad Bissasa's attention, and she said, I can't do nothing. And this was early on, eh? Early on. We saw it with my candle dagger. Never see so much thieving in all my 50, 60 years. People thieving money like if they invented it, like if they have a right to thief. In 2011, Daga says so, right? And Jack. MSG, you know Abdullah was a senator, he bust out. And if you say you can't do nothing about the corruption, I'm not staying here to team my reputation, to say I supporting that, I gone. He hightail it and he gone. Right? Mm-hmm. There's only poor Errol decide to stay in there. Well, he tainted his legacy. I haven't heard from him in donkey years, but all right, I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, let me not go there. So there was that, right? But they want to tell you 2025. Now you see, some people is not a born to learn. Because when we were telling Masha and the rest of them this all the time, nah, well, you know what they're saying. PNM this and PNM that. And all that old talk, right? Well, let's see it for let's the same thing in Tobago. When we're telling them about Watson and we tell them about Farley, all you're jealous, mind all your business, stay out of Tobago business. We're saying we have no problem with Tobago business, no. If all you don't want the PNM, no problem. But all we say, make the right choice, at least replace them with something good, something proper. And the PDP wasn't proper. They didn't take the advice. Today, what we come into here just now. I go back to Masha. She says, some 10 days later, I am removed from a position that has nothing to do with the post from which I resigned. So she was the deputy chairman of their social media committee, and Kamala gave instructions to remove her. And to make matters worse, I am removed via a one-liner in a chat with some 40-odd persons. Again, is this a prime minister in waiting? Is this the way you intend to handle your cabinet? Is this the type of human resource public servants can expect? This is Masha Walker telling you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, through this missive. She's asking the question. We don't know the answer, but like she suddenly wake up. Because remember when it is Kamala said, made the statement or the comment about the slave master named to Camille Robinson Regis. Masha only realized that, well, I remember it took 9 days for Mrs. Prasad Bissaso to be offended by what Mrs. Regis said. And it was only when she made that statement, 9 days after, that the rest of them realized, oh shucks, we're supposed to be upset too. Or we just thought Camille was making a little peacock. We didn't know the leader was bothered by that. Okay, all right, troops, come. The leader vexed. She upset about what Camille said, so we have to be upset too. Yeah, but it's not a little joke Camille was making. Nah, well, apparently the leader don't think it was funny. So she upset, so, we when she upset, we upset too. Okay? He's saying when she catch a cold, yeah. When she sneeze, we just get a cold. So if she vex, we vex too. All right? And it seems she vexed, so we need to come out now and express that vexation. So Masha was one of them who came out in strong defense, do a whole live talking about how Camille this and it was disrespectful and racist, all kind of chupidness. Huh? Today's a different Masha. She's asking, and let me repeat it again, is this the Prime Minister in waiting? She ain't talking about Rowley. Keith Rowley's the Prime Minister. She ain't talking about Philip Alexander. She ain't talking about Gary Griffith. Talking about Kamala Prasad Bissaso. Is this the way you intend to handle your cabinet? That's a very good question, Masha. You could tell us, and you close to her. That was your arm body for the longest while. Wherever Kamala, as they used to say, wherever Kamala is, you arm. What going on now? I continue. How can we hold the government to account if we cannot do so via our own example? Does the party not have a disciplinary committee? Do we have guidelines to determine what constitutes undermine official party positions? In my public statements regarding Jack with the issue, why didn't the party issue a warning letter? No, she says, if my public statements regarding Jack were the issue, why didn't the party issue a warning letter? Why didn't they call, as they did in 2020 when I posted about Gary, and ask for the post to be taken down? The one-liner never spoke about me undermining any position, by the way. It said, I needed to be removed as vice chair of the PR committee because I resigned as the coordinator for Diego Martin West. One has nothing to do with the other. Is that the way the party seeks to resolve such conflicts? Again, I ask, is this the behavior of a prime minister in waiting? Do we not have set policies to resolve such conflicts? But I thought Rowley was the dictator. Masha. All of a sudden, you're now realizing this. You didn't see these colors on Mrs. Pasabi Sessa before? 2020 vision, I tell earlier. When only watching PNM, only had 2020 vision, but when you're looking internally, it's cataract and glaucoma. Well, it seemed like Masha had laser surgery. And not just Masha, a few of them well. She goes on, when leadership abuses the party's constitution, are they undermining anything? Or has the culture in the party changed to a dictatorship where we have no regard for the internal rule of law? Just Masha saying this, former Patong-in-chief. Let's talk hypocrisy. Do we not have a sitting PRO who publicly bashes the leadership? Okay. Do we not have a sitting PRO who undermines her official party position? Maybe that person isn't popular enough, so they didn't need to be dealt with in the same manner. Can the population expect victimization from this prime minister in waiting? I see. That's not well. Give me 1 second, I think. But make sure this is Masha Walker page. Yeah, Masha Walker page. Can the population expect victimization from this prime minister in waiting? I resigned quietly. I did not give details to the media when asked. I did not do any interviews, but it seems I may have to when BS media releases can come out from the party. Just remember, I am not the one desperately trying to hold on to a position. So you're telling Kamala she desperately trying. At least Rowley knows when to say sorry, to save face. Wrong and strong has never sat well with the electorate. Again, the low voter turnout is testimony to this. Masha praising Keith Rowley. Something wrong. You expect us to stay quiet, not out of loyalty to you, but you hope that we tell ourselves this will only help PNM stay in power. Well, guess what? If the UNC does not clean house in 2025, I will join the line of non-voters because this version of the UNC leadership, and she puts it in bold, has proven not to be a viable option. All I can say, I have seen it myself. The UNC is a democratic organization. She's reading something here that the UNC put out. This was in the UNC's, this was in a press release that I think Mr. Mehu sent out. The UNC is a democratic organization. Members are free to hold their points of view according to their conscience and to resign from party positions. Members must not undermine official party positions they hold. In such cases, the party will seek a solution to resolve the contradiction, and the party has recently had to do so. But let me just read this last part again. Masha says, I will join the line of non-voters. If the UNC does not clean house in 2025, this version of the UNC leadership has proven not to be a viable option. All I can say, I have seen it myself. So if Masha, who inside, Masha, who was all up under Kamala, that was she girl, is telling us this version of the UNC is not a viable option. This version of UNC leadership is not a viable option. If she says so, who is we? Who is we? I'm talking to all of the UNC trolls who listening. Good morning. This is Masha Walker. So don't come and cuss me this morning. These are not my words. I read in what Masha put on her Facebook page for the whole country to read. And Masha, who was the Potong-in-chief, who was up until recently your vice chairman for social media, Masha, who was your party's standard bearer in 2020 to go up against Keith Rowley for the Diego Martin West seat, Masha Walker, who 2 weeks ago was your party's standard bearer in Glencoe, La Puerta, Goodwood, in the local government election, Masha Walker, who was selected by your screening committee, the same Masha Walker who your screening committee had full confidence in to represent the seat, right? Same Masha Walker is now telling us 2 weeks later that this version of the UNC leadership has proven not to be a viable option, and she has seen it herself. So when Marcus Gedari chose to leave and come to the PNM, and he told us that what they were told is, don't spend the money, don't do anything, in your district, right? And blame the government and say these corporation is starved for funding, so you can't do nothing. And he couldn't operate so. And he left. They call him Anima Karam. They say all kind of things. When Tahaka Obika left, they had plenty to say, but again, the same thing Masha now telling us she saw, apparently Tahaka saw it too, right? And all the people who leave in that party in droves, not all of them come into the PNM, but a lot of them come into the PNM, right? Because apparently they saw, but like while they were seeing that, like Masha took off her glasses and she was cleaning it now. It was a little foggy, so she was cleaning it and she only now put back on the glasses and see what the rest of them who crossed the floor was seeing all the time. So it begs the question, who is next? Who is next? That if it is that you don't pay obeisance to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, we saw it between in the last parliamentary term, 2015 to 2020. Every time Kamala Prasad Bisesa speaks in the parliament, everybody who gets up to talk after her has to start off, I want to congratulate the leader for that erudite presentation. It was so well done, right? She said basically everything that needs to be said. How could I follow in the footsteps? How could I follow after such a beautiful and succinct presentation by the honorable leader, member for Separia? What else can I say? I pale in her shadow. All of them. As I always say, the only thing they didn't used to do is when she pull up by the parliament, all of them go outside in the front yard and lie down on the ground so she could walk on their back. That's the only thing they didn't do. Right? But everything is always praise the leader and praise the leader. She have a press conference, all of them have to stand up behind her like a set of bobblehead and only go in so. Same thing with Farley. Every time he call a press conference, yeah, the whole choir stand up behind him. Right? And only, yes. And from time to time, they pass around the handkerchief to wipe your eye. Yeah, we shedding crocodile tears. Yes. We besiege this blasted PNM, this Rowley. He too wicked and dirty. Yes. Really, Masha? Poor soul. Well, if she telling all that Kamala ain't no damn good, to the UNC supporters, if Masha say all your leader ain't no damn good, she telling all that, she see it for herself. Based on what is happening now, that Kamala flexing her muscle. Who are we? We were telling all that all the time. And all they say is hate, and we racist, and the PNM racial, and we only voting on racial lines, and it's because we don't like the Indian woman. All they were saying that. So what? Masha racial now? All of a sudden she realized that she have a little Jerry curl in her. Is that it? She telling us she was there all the time. So she's Anima Karam. Well, we know that coming. We know that coming very soon. Let me say good morning to Anita Haynes. I'm not implying anything, I'm just saying. Good morning, Anita. Good morning to Tahaka Obika as well. I'm not implying anything. I just say it. Right. Just now, Right. So I read that before a couple of days ago. Let me get this here. I'll just play this quickly. Let me see. As they say, stop me if you've heard this one before. Let me get this. So, all these set of devices and so on and so forth. Right, where is this? This now. Right, we got to go there. Cooking with gas.
Want to talk about track record?
The defining issue in this country is accountability.
4 times the present leader has lost for our party.
Kamala, you have to leave and go.
DHA 2013.
Lost.
Chaguanas West.
Lost.
Local government 2013.
Lost.
St. Joseph.
Lost.
General elections 2015.
Lost.
Malabar by election.
Lost.
Tunapuna by election.
Lost.
Election petition.
Lost.
Election petition appeal.
Lost.
How are you going to go forward come next election if we keep the status quo and keep the present leader? What will happen? Lost again.
Come like you have to leave and go.
That's probably the truest word she ever spoke. Truest word she ever spoke. Yeah? And this was when? This was in 2010 when she was challenging Pandey for the leadership of the party. 4 times she said Pandey lost. And therefore he should go. Well, you hear what they mentioned there, and since then, there have been several other losses. But she's still there. In 2015, when Munilal was challenging her for leadership, you see, this is why, again, these people continue to demonstrate. There's a bunch of hypocrites. They're not genuine, and they should never occupy the corridors of power in this country ever again. As I said before, they shouldn't even be in the opposition. Right? Let me read a little bit out for what Munilal said in 2015, after they lost the general election and he was challenging her for leadership. I don't know if it is that all the things that he said about her then, right, for the 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days that she was prime minister, that in the last 8 years, apparently she get better to absorb all the things that she did, that he said made her a bad leader, and it was time for her to go. What has she done in the last 8 years to say, well, I am better than I was 2010 to 2015? Has she spoken on Adrian Ali yet? Have any of them spoken on Adrian Ali yet? Or is it that they're hoping that something will happen and Adrian Ali will be a 9-day wonder? Not surprised. Let me read this here. Just a little bit. Bear with me. Right. Let me see if I get this here. Right. Just a moment. This is Rudal Munilal speaking here in 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the national community and beloved members of our general party, of our great party, the UNC. I indicated over the past 2 weeks that I was on a campaign of dialogue with stakeholders, members, supporters, and friends of the UNC on matters pertaining to the December 5th internal elections of our party. The exercise continues, but I wish to report to you on my discussions and on decisions that have been taken as a result of these meetings. First, I wish to indicate that I stand before you as a proud child of the UNC, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Just let me get this here. Embedded in the philosophical values of the labor movement, the UNC has given this nation a proud legacy of human and physical development. Okay. We must proudly celebrate and honor the contribution of the UNC, right? At this historic juncture, I have held extensive discussions with many of our foot soldiers, activists, and members, including our founders. It was not just on the question of running or not running for the party office. We discussed the current state of our party and the dreams and aspirations of our members. Those meetings also helped to fashion and formulate a new vision policy for our party. The future of the UNC is the future of Trinidad and Tobago, and we are a critical national institution, really. Many I spoke to expressed dissatisfaction. Many felt disgruntled, disenfranchised, and even angry in the shadow of a shocking electoral defeat against the backdrop of one of the best performing governments Trinidad and Tobago has ever seen. Almost 2 months after the election, many of our members are still analyzing and internalizing the election result. Members and supporters indicated that they yearn for deeper democracy. Well, apparently, this is the deeper democracy that they wanted. Where Kamala says, I in charge. I should tell them, my decision is final. I want no opposition. Support Villiana, please. All you hear me? I don't want no opposition. And see what's happening in Sangre Grande? Whoever I choose, right. And if the financiers say they don't want Joseph Tony because you're a little too brown, you're a little too melanated, well then hard luck. It is what it is. Because all they put in no money here. And right now, the landlord only calling on my phone. Tell them I know that we owe rent for the headquarters. Right? And he only gave us a blight to see what the outcome of the local election would have been, to see if the party has any hope. And given the fact that we are just one courthouse victory away, if you want to call it that, but one election away from the PNM again, given we are next cocktail, despite the fact that for the last 3 years, we hold a Monday night forum every Monday, Sunday morning Waster Time press conference, we call in a set-aside conference, we had at one point in time the Waster Time Wednesday night pavement line old talk, all them things. We up and down the country talking about crime, talking about unemployment, poverty, who eating grass, who can't afford to buy chicken, could only buy chicken foot, all them things we tell all about. And yet still, the frazzle we were supposed to beat the PNM to didn't happen. In fact, The PNM almost beat we Frazzle. All right? We pick up 1 or 2 seats here, but we also lost because the seat we had in Arima, they take it back. The same man who went up for us cut we backside, take back the same seat. Yeah? Why? We thought we had a foothold. We thought we made inroads in Arima, right? Well, they put up a barrier and tell me, hey, there's it, don't come no further, right? So that's where we are now. So Arima Borough Corporation, full PNM. All right, so we had a retreat. What else we have? Well, we get a seat in Grandie. Okay, all right. I see a name on a list and I'm asking a question. On UNC Cabal page, I saw what appears to be some sort of internal memo that was put out by the folks up in Grandie, the UNC councillors, that group that campaigning. And I saw a name at the bottom of the list. A concern. Some of you all may have seen it. Panther, tell me that is not you. Please. Please tell me that is not you. Because the list says, list of UNC activists. I don't want to believe that the name I see at the bottom of that list is the same Eric. Nah, and not Eric here, and next Eric. Eric who does sing Calypso, right? But anyway, I digress. I hope that that is not true. I continue. Members and supporters indicated that they yearn for deeper democracy, participation, and even appreciation for their efforts. I heard lines like, we can't take this anymore. I'm fed up losing. This is 2015. 2015, Rudal Munilal is telling you that he went the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago, talking to UNC supporters, members, and they telling them, we fed up losing. How many losses they had then? The THA election in 2013, the by-election in Chabonas, the by-election in St. Joseph, local election 2013, general election 2015, right? They was fed up then. Since then, they had a whole slew of losses again, but they ain't fed up. All was fed up in 2015 with 5. Well, you're probably 15 or 20 now, but you ain't fed up. And you want to keep faith with the same leader? That is a very good strategy. I want to encourage all to do that. Yes, well, I have my full support and the support of the whole PNM. We don't subscribe to that strategy because we are a little dotish. So, but we think that that is an excellent strategy, and you all take the lead and show us how it is done. Okay? I continue. Losing cannot be our comfort zone. Some of the core builders of the party expressed serious concerns about the electoral process for the upcoming internal election. I am convinced that our new elections committee will ensure the independence and sanctity of the electoral process. He wasn't saying that after he lost it. Free and fair elections. UNC no about that. It cannot be that we seek redress at the nation's courts to uphold the fairness of the national polls, but preside over an unfair internal poll. Really, Rudy? I share and empathize with the pain of our members and supporters. I understood the despair and rage. In 2015, he understood the despair and the rage. But in 2023, yes, he wants to come and tell you, the best leader, the best prime minister this country ever see, Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Today as a party, we arrive at the crossroads of our destiny, and we can learn from sharp lessons of our loss and forge a new sense of purpose. Let me scroll down quick. We owe better to our members and supporters, indeed to all of Trinidad and Tobago. Change is now necessary. Change is our basic law of life. It is the only constant in life, and we have to be prepared and committed. Right. What change they made between 2015 to now when he gave this speech? Well, they bring in Saddam Hussein. Sorry, my apologies. Saddam Hussein. And who else? They get rid of Tahaka Obika. Well, you know he was a senator. They get rid of him. They got rid of, where's Sean Sobers? Sean, come front. Where are you, Sean? You still there? Okay. They replace you with Giant T. Me and undersay. Big sense of nonsense. I continue. Our present political leader took us to electoral victory in 2010. All of us who were part of the government worked tirelessly to keep our promises to the people. In the process, however, we may have left behind many of our followers, our supporters, our foot soldiers, our voters, whose toil had given us that historic victory. We were busy trying to deal with the forest. We were so busy trying to deal with the forest that we may have neglected the trees. Now you see, understand the difference, eh? You see what he's saying here? They neglected all these people. Foot soldiers, the voters, the supporters, followers, right? They're still keeping faith with our party. But in the PNM, me ain't get this, me ain't get nothing, Rowley this, and Rowley that, Rowley don't care about the ground, and me ain't voting. I'll admit it here. PNM trying to govern for everybody, for the whole country. Because as Dr. Rowley said, PNM is the party for everybody. Yes, he was elected by PNM faithful, but at the end of the day, when he took his oath, it was oath as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, not Prime Minister of the PNM. Now I understand there are those who are disgruntled and feel that the PNM ought to do more in their strongholds and constituencies that they hold. But again, I make the point: when the government tries to do that, and the UNC decides they want to run to the courthouse and the Equal Opportunity Commission to cry discrimination, where are these same loyal supporters of the PNM? Do we come out to defend the government, to tell the UNC they are nonsense or they are foolishness? No. When it is Mr. Manning had the scholarship fund and they come and say that it was a slush fund for PNM people, and now you have Anil Roberts to saying all kind of thing about Laurel Azama leasing and how she get scholarship for 500,000. And anyway, I don't need to go down that road. Where are we to defend the party and to defend the government when they do what it is all they want them to do? Where? And when it happens, do we promote it? Do we say, yes, the government working? The swimming pool that was built in Mova, the swimming pool that was built in Lavantil, 9-day wonder, we talk about it and we get the government to clap. And after that, any promotion? No. We say, no, the PNM don't do nothing for the strongholds. And all the things that they're doing. When Mr. Hines made the statement last year about the agriculture program that they had given out land and so on, and when they looked through the list of names and they noticed that there was a shortage of persons with African names or slave master names, and the UNC was taking him to task to say that, is this how the government operates, that they're giving out the country's faction money based on discrimination? Did we come out and support and tell them how all their tail? Leave it see alone? The man, all you can see what they want at the end of the day, the man making sense? Did we do that? No. But when they're in power, and they're doing their thing, right? You see the Kamala helping cheap people. When the PNM power, them do it. Right. I continue. Let me see what else Munilal said here, boy. Yes, just now. Give me 1 second. In the aftermath of the brutal 2010 internal elections, I was the only candidate from my state to have won. I quickly moved to support the new democratically elected leader and to stabilize the party. In the immediate aftermath of our recent national electoral defeat, I speedily moved a motion to have the current leader retained as party and opposition leader, so the UNC could be quickly stabilized and return smoothly to conducting the business of the people in the national parliament. That is my track record. We must remain loyal to the UNC. You see that? Put that in red. We must remain loyal to the UNC. Our greatest strength is our faithful membership. That's probably the one true thing Rula Munilal ever said. Our greatest strength is our faithful membership. Kamala could do them what the hell she wants. Election night 2015, leave them crying in Rienzi complex. Did she go and offer them any consolation? Do what every political leader would have done, every prime minister would have done, having lost an election? Go and console your membership. They gathered in their numbers of early expected a victory, and then all of them sit down there, drifting from side to side. The after effects of Biram, the after effects of Forest Park, and wherever else they could have find to drink. Right? Wherever was available. Poor souls. She jumped in a car and gone home. The hell was them. She went to drown her sorrows and leave them there. She couldn't come and say a few words and then go home. But they still keeping faithful to her. She was the best prime minister ever, the best political leader ever. That is a very good strategy. Till 2025. He goes on to say, we must introduce policies relevant to people's lives today, policies that craft a vision for a modern Trinidad and Tobago, policies that herald the belief that our country's best days are ahead of us. We have to change our culture, so that we look, feel, think, and behave like a radically new organization built upon a strong and enduring foundation. All that set up verbiage. Today, I issue a call to the brave. Your time has come and you must seize the moment. I invite all UNC members and supporters to join me and an army of volunteers to rebuild our party and restore us to pristine glory. I say a call to the brave because this is not an assignment for the weak or the faint-hearted. It is for patriots who can endure and it is for UNC soldiers who can endure the tough battles ahead. It will not be easy, and I invite all soldiers and comrades in battle to report for duty, to zip up your boots. I pay tribute to Kamala Persad-Bissessa's leadership and dignity. I am proud to have served with her, and I am proud of our unparalleled record of performance, but the time has arrived for our party to move on. Leave Kamala in 2015. They didn't do that. They're still tooting she on their back in 2023. Still tooting on their back. Right? Masha now realized that. Munilal realized that in 2015, but he had an about turn. So when he promoted her in 2023, Masha telling you what Munilal was saying in 2015. And not just Masha. Larry Lala, who was praising her in 2020, now come out again and saying she need to go. And he intends to challenge her for the leadership. Larry, oh gosh, you have history to look at. As an attorney, you know how to do research. You need to do all that research. Everybody who has come up against Kamala Persad-Bissessa, you know what the outcome is. Munilal was the first one, right? The Lion of Oroput, she loves to call himself. Let me hear you roar. And she finished with him. Couldn't even call him a pussycat. Not even that. He wasn't even a kitten. He had to go and lie down in a corner licking wounds. Yeah? But coming to talk about he's the Lion of Oroput. Yeah, you're a lion when you're in Oroput. But anytime you come outside, that is it. When Kamala arrive on the scene, you're no lion again, my friend. Not even a kitten. You can't even pull. Watch here. You go meow. He can't even say that. He just in a corner there and wait. And she had to give him permission to talk. As I said, in the UNC, typical. All of the male members, all of the male members of the leadership, whether you're going up parliamentary election, local government election, the understanding is there's a box at the door. When you come inside, leave your testicles inside there because you're not going to need it for the next 4 or 5 years. So you're a counselor, 4 years. Tell yourself, take a last peep, take a picture. You want to do a selfie with your testicles, go ahead, because this is the last time you're going to see it for the next 4 years. And likewise, if you're going up for parliamentary elections, do the same thing. Take a selfie with your testicles, because when it go in that box, you won't see it again for the next 5 years. None of them have the testicles to come up against them. Come now, man, Larry. It's easy. But you could still try it. Maybe you might make a little headway. Okay, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I digressed. Again, forgive me. But I just say to the UNC supporters, when all they feel we beating up on all the time, what prominent people in your party now seeing, we was telling all that all the time. And it wasn't because hate, it's not because we're racial. It's not because we don't like the Indian woman. No, it had nothing to do with that. Her race had nothing to do with it. Okay? We saw her incompetence, right? We saw her for what she was. A pretender, a faker, or as, well, he didn't use those exact words, but based on the open letter that he put out, her own attorney, what is this? Come on, what's going on here? Yeah, her own attorney called her a fraud. Yeah, with respect to Silk. But anyway, I continue. Right? Forgive me, but it is what it is. Masha, I know that people calling for you to join the PNM. If you want to be an ordinary member, we really don't want you. We don't want you. We don't want you. We don't want Naked. We don't want David. We don't want Anil Roberts. We don't want Jolene either. Definitely don't want Wayne Mark. Doppy, same thing. All earlier. And the unfortunate thing is, even if they get rid of Kamala, the potential replacements ain't no good. All of them is the same thing. All. You had to get rid of all of them. Who will replace her? Munilal? He just as bad. Right? He lies with impunity. Forget he. Bring up what? Saddam Hussein. I don't know why I keep making that mistake. My apologies, Mr. Hussein. Right? He, forget that. Who else it up? Jolene? We know that ain't going to happen. Ain't no way. The party faithful, the original diehard UNC supporters going to allow Jolene to be the political leader of the UNC. Not with that weave. Fix sense out of nonsense. You see that weave? She can't make with that weave. Sorry. What are you going to put? Duppy is a stone's throw away from the cemetery. The political and the other one too. So poor soul. Who else it have? Anil? All you really want to... I suggest try it with Anil. That would be a good choice. Yeah? Try it with Anil. Who else will you have? Khadija? Lord Father. She's a deputy too, eh? I believe so. Or she's deputy chair. Wherever it is. Dave Tanku? Barry? Peter Kanai? Ratiram? Anal Ram? Well, boy. Eh, sir, the labas. The labas. But anyway, well, you hear what? I am not. Do what it is. Do all you had to do, right? Choose. Anyway, let me leave that there. But a word to the wise is sufficient. So we see what is taking place, all right? So we have upheaval in San Fernando, upheaval in San Grande, and I don't know where else. I think it might have a little something in the Chaguanas Borough Corporation too, but that's part of the course. And I heard Kuva Tabaki tell Paro, it might have a little bacchanal there in terms of, well, you know, the long-standing chairman is Henry Awong, but I think there's a call by the financiers, the few that they have left, to replace Henry with somebody else. So we will see how that. In the meantime, the needs of the Burgesses has to be put on hold because the UNC can't get a spit together. So they had emergency meeting last night to pledge again loyalty to the leader and to try and do some level of damage control because you see all them things Masha putting out there, it's helping them. It's helping them. Imagine they thought they was getting an older one in Diego Martin. Gary take that. Them so stupid. Yes, they're so stupid. Not stupid, you know. Stupid. All you forfeit Diego Martin and get Gary to run. Gary get Alderman position. All you lost out. So Gary get Alderman position based on UNC votes and then put a former PNM man who was a PNM Alderman between 2016 to 2019. Put he there. Boy, you think dotish is an understatement. But thanks, eh? Thanks. Well done. Well played. Well played. Let me deal with Farley now. Let me pull up Farley. Where is Mr. Farley? Now, there's a clip going around with Farley, right? Farley seems to be getting bigger and bigger for his britches. As I said before, you had to ask if it's that his urine, like it's starting to froth. So he understands the order. So he becomes bolder and bolder as he tries to rake in Tobagonians, right? So that when the S hits the fan, you could see that this was, again, a PNM smear campaign designed to make the TPP look bad and designed to make him look bad. To borrow a line from Kamla Prasad Visesa. Farley, by the way, have you paid the People's Ex Gratia payment as yet? So, that you promised since December last year, since December the year before. They get it yet? I'm just asking that question. I'm curious. Because you keep promising. Last year, when you held the budget, they were supposed to get it in June. Then you tell them they won't get it in September before the end of the financial year. Then you tell them they would get it for December and they would be all smiles. We are now in August going into September of 2023. So they were supposed to get it since September 2022. They get it yet? I'm just asking the question. All right? But you want to tell Rowley mind your business. You want to say Rowley's a failed leader. But all of them people who give you their vote, expecting an ex gratia payment, almost 2 years now, they can't get it yet. Almost 2 years, Farley? Time longer than twine. Let me get this one here first.
No intention to follow Trinidad. I don't want to be able to become like Trinidad. Trinidad is a hot mess. Trinidad has failed in many ways, especially when it comes to the socialization of its people. I have no intention to follow Trinidad. I don't want to be able to become like Trinidad. Trinidad is a hot mess. Trinidad has failed in many ways, especially when it comes to the socialization of its people.
Trinidad is a hot mess. He doesn't want Tobago to come like Trinidad. Well, Farley, and you say you don't want Tobago to come like Trinidad, especially with the socialization of its people. All right. Socialization of its people. Okay. So is it, Farley, that you would prefer if Tobagonians stay away from Trinidadians? Or the other way, On the flip side, Trinidadians stay away from Tobagonians because you don't want that socialization, and then, Tobagonians start to pick up Trinidadian ways and habits. So perhaps we should stop coming to Tobago, Farley. Perhaps we should stop coming. Because you don't want Tobago to come like Trinidad. And if you have too many Trinidadians coming across to Tobago, they might rub off on the Tobagonians and leave this stench, because we are a hot mess. This is the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly saying on a public live that Trinidad is a hot mess. But like he forget when it is he leaves this country to go gallivanting all over the world, say he's selling Tobago. The people that you're talking to know the name of the country is Trinidad and Tobago. And when you, as one of the national leaders, the head of the THA, on a public live that is being shared all over the world, is saying that Trinidad is a hot mess, and you don't want Tobago to come like Trinidad, especially with the socialization of its people. Are you selling Trinidad, Farley? Asking the question. You're selling Trinidad? What message are you sending to people outside who might be contemplating coming to Trinidad? And you will understand that when the foreigners come here and we get the foreign dollars, and they come and they spend here, that money contributes to what we give you all every year in the budget, Farley. What message you're really sending, Farley? You're right in your head. You're thinking, Farley, is it that the baby crying too much, you ain't getting enough sleep? You're sleep deprived? That is why you're talking this trash, this nonsense, Farley? As a national leader, As a national leader. I know what's worse. The opposition, every time Dr. Rowley says something, they have an issue with it. A reporter asked tell Dr. Rowley, the NTA get 30,000 votes. And Dr. Rowley said, Guyanese dollars? They're all up in their feelings about that. They have plenty to say, but this, they are nothing to say about that. About a national leader saying Trinidad is in a hot mess. And he don't want Tobago to be like Trinidad. What does that tell you? Watson Duke has abandoned the separatist agenda, and Farley, like, he pick it up and he running with it. He worse than Watson. Watson was bad when he talking about secession and all this kind of thing and whatnot. He has since changed his tone. But it seems Farley taking it down a different road now. He is trying to culture Tobagonians to hate Trinidad, to look down on Trinidad, right? But yet still, well, I want Trinidadians to come across to Tobago. Farley, have you studied? I know you love to do statistics and you like to do report. Everything for you is a report and a report. This audit report that we keep hearing about, that money spent for taxpayers' money, some of it being for taxpayers from Trinidad, for this audit report that you spend money on, but you don't want to publish it. You don't want to give a copy to the Prime Minister. We keep hearing about this audit report, but other than the little, as Fitzgerald Hines say, you're giving me a little bit of the thing and chinksing with the rest. We can't get the whole report yet. That we money pay for, right? UNC wouldn't say, let them file a Freedom of Information request to get the report because it's taxpayers' money pay for that. They ain't interested in that report. No, they ain't coming to file no FOI on you. Whatever was the PNM, they have plenty to say. This is a national leader going on an international social media platform to talk about Trinidad is in a hot mess. Farley, what message you're trying to send? They'll come out and say it now. Just come out and say, I don't want no Trinidadian, I don't want to come into me. Say it. Go ahead. I mean, we wouldn't be surprised to hear it come out of your lips. Because when Duke was basically saying the same thing, you were right there supporting him. Right? We don't want no chief secretary stupidness. We want our own prime minister. And we want our own coast guard. And we want immigration. All they wanted all their own thing. Right? But yet still, you're talking about the 2 seats in Tobago and to come to the Trinidad Parliament. And you know, it's unfortunate. You have Tobagonians. Well, you have Trinidadian family. And all you're allowing all the chief secretary to talk this nonsense. You have Trinidadians who living in Trinidad, Tobagonians living in Trinidad for the longest while. Well, you hear what to do. Tell the students in Tobago, do not come to any tertiary institution in Trinidad because they will be socialized by the Trinidadians. Right? The socialization that you don't want. If they come to Trinidad to say they're studying for 3 and 4 years, they will be socialized based on the Trinidadian culture and they will take it back to Tobago and infect the Tobagonians. We don't want that. All of these different, you see, And again, where is the outcry? One little joke Dr. Rowley make, and they beat him with stripes. But this is responsible. That is one. I'm gonna play the next one. Look at the next one here. Right? Where is it?
You are not the boss of me nor this island. And so, Mr. Prime Minister, yes, it's correct that you are Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, but you are not Prime Minister of the Tobago House of Assembly. As a matter of fact, from the time you reach number 1 Jerningham Street, your authority ends by the gate. And that is why I offered no apologies to the fact that the Prime Minister visit to the quarry was cancelled. Central government didn't own that. That is Tobago people own. And as a matter of fact, one of my elders, Mr. Hochoy Charles, made it his duty to point out to me that when that quarry was starting up, there was this young fella who was at National Quarries Board who came up and said, it's only rotten rock you have there. But the same man who said it was rotten rock, he wanted to go and visit it today. Well, we will keep the rotten rock and you keep out our business. When they cannot get their way, then what they will do, they call the Commissioner of Police, whose Balize bloomers are showing. She Balize petticoat exposed, and she set up another mad lady, and they will come and try to terrorize the elected members of the Tobago House of Assembly. But more than that, they find themselves in the houses of public servants whom we ain't even hire. People who are working for the teacher for over 10 years. And the relationship between Tobago and Trinidad has never been this low. We had Robinson versus Williams. The most Williams is suffer. Mrs. Williams owned them and then pay them no money. They ain't get no salary. My father was in the bunch. We had Troy versus Panday. We had to get a DRC to solve that one. We had Kamla versus Orville and all kind of back and forth and trading of talks. And you Tobagonians came out and voted overwhelmingly against that. Ask Babes, you was part of them. Who lose? Right? And but we have never had a situation where the government of Trinidad and Tobago will use the machinations of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to come and terrorize people because they simply do not agree with them, because we voted them out of office.
Right. That's a national leader. That is the chief secretary for Tobago. Right? You ever said that? Who Choi tell him about when they were starting up the quarry, it had a young boy on the board of National Quarries who says Old Rock. What is Hochoy Charles doing? Clearly, he's not trying to pacify the situation. Clearly, he is not trying to get Farley to pat down or to behave himself. Because when it is that you're telling Farley things like this, that when the quarry started, it had a young boy on the board, and he say that the is only Old Rock all you have there. What did he expect Farley to do with that information? So is it that Hochoy, who apparently is Farley's advisor, is giving him information to continue to fan the flames of this hatred that Farley seems to have for the Prime Minister, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension, Trinidad? Because remember, Farley said he ain't taking no advice from nobody from Trinidad. If you had to take advice, you would take it from Hochoy Charles. And it seems when he said that, Hochoy was listening and he decided to offer himself. And as an elder statesman, a man who would have served as a former chief secretary of the THA, to be giving Farley advice that clearly is not in the best interest of Tobago, is not in Farley's own best interest, right? Because to be telling Farley things like that, you're just trying to stoke the fire. Yeah, give Rowley, give him good. Really? Poor child? So is it that you like what taking place in Tobago? Is it that you are trying to live vicariously through Farley? That you probably had some agenda that you wanted to achieve and you didn't get time to do it, so now if you realize or you figure you could do it through Farley to bring about something that was probably deep-seated and deep-rooted for the longest while? Because I don't see how this could be helping Tobago, right? And for you to be telling Farley things like that speaks to me, it speaks volumes about what your agenda is. So when it is that you should have people, advisors around Farley telling him, look, this is the wrong course. We understand you might feel aggrieved based on what it is happening. You feel that there's, maybe people trampling on your authority. The authority which you don't seem to have a proper grasp of, because you think powers you think you have, you don't. And we go stop there, we ain't going in the next half. Powers you think you have, you don't. So when you like to hug up this fifth schedule, and the fifth schedule say this, and the fifth schedule say that, and then you have people like Martin George who love every time you is criticized or whatever it is, he have a million things to say, right? Always need to do a live, and they're always calling on him to give a commentary. Yeah? And nothing positive. Always, but anyway, to use his own too, the Jockey Shots Award man. Who really advising Farley? Who is Farley's list of advisors? You have people like Winford James, Vanas. Well, now Vanas turned against it. Vanas said this is the worst administration ever to pass through the THA. But Vanas, we were telling you all that in 2020, that the THA is not the PSA. You went up on the People platform and talked about 2 or 3 times, supported, endorsed Farley and Watson. So you had to take blame for what exists today. This monster, this burgeoning monster that is Farley, you contributed to that. The horse has now bolted from the stable. Yeah? The reins no longer strong enough to pull him back. That when you thought Watson was the man that we had to keep an eye on, in the meantime, Farley in the background, sucking off a Watson. Now he was not even Watson, I think, could tame Farley. Just as Jack couldn't tame Kamala after he created that monster as well. Now, what Watson supposed to do? I see he planned to pack his bags, his Jahaji bundle, and head back to Tobago. To do what? To do what? Farley's way ahead of you, Watson. You had to come and play catch up, and you had time to play catch up. The only advantage you could get is if Farley make a jail, or if he end up at least in handcuffs. Otherwise, I don't see how you could do anything there, because a lot of your faithful and loyal servants have now switched to the TPP. Again, we see in Tobago what exists in Trinidad with respect to the United National Congress, culture of personality, where loyalty is focused on one person, not the party. The TPP is Farley, the THA is Farley. Farley is the main man. He doing all of the talking. The rest of us stay in the back there. I go handle this. Yeah? Let Awi boy talk. And every time Awi boy talk, it's like his foot grows longer. Right? So he started off from a size 9 in his mouth, and now he probably reached size 13. And it's only a matter of time before he choke on it. So all who advising him to continue along this path, telling Dr. Rowley it have a navel string berry in Mason Hall, and they need to come and dig it up and take it back to Trinidad and all of that. Farley, Dr. Rowley is about almost twice your age. You never hear about respect your elders. You know about that. What kind of example you setting, right? For the young people who on social, all of them have a phone, a cell phone. And when they're going through the cell phone and seeing that basically the chief secretary advocating disrespect for the prime minister, disrespect for the government, what are they supposed to do? Young, impressionable minds. You as a former school teacher should know better. Is this how you plan to continue to run Tobago, Farley? That's the example you're setting. Taking advice from a set of old heads who probably looking to draw a little dust every month, as the young people say, a little dust. Coming and filling your head with a set of nonsense that we could go our separate ways. Don't worry, it have hydrocarbons in Tobago waters. Tell Trinidad Hall this so and so. Tell Rowley his monthly salary, because we have hydrocarbons here. So separate, because all it takes, we'll go out on a fishing boat and we clap twice, and barrels of gas and oil will appear on the boat. Yeah? Or You jump over the water, you throw a little something, you go with a calabash and something else, right? You carry a man from Lekoto on the boat, and what? All of a sudden, energy infrastructure will appear in the water, Farley. The same Ula Christopher that you're accusing her Balize Bloomers. She's the commissioner of police for Trinidad and Tobago, Farley. She has responsibility. The same fifth schedule and sixth schedule I like to talk about excludes national security from the responsibilities of the THA. National security is excluded. So you have no authority over the TTPS whatsoever. None. You could say about licensing under the fifth schedule, it fall under thing, and you could probably try and flex your muscles a little bit where licensing is concerned. But when it comes to national security and the TTPS, Ula Christopher is the boss, not you. You cannot dictate the pace of any police officer in Tobago. You're fast and out of place. And all who are advising you that you could do that do not have your best interest at heart. But continue along this road, Farley. You realize Dr. Oli had to tell you? You are next one, Dr. Oli, living rent-free in your head too. Plenty earlier. So when I think Dr. Oli only had property and only had townhouse in Inez Gate and a property in Goodwood Park and wherever else, and his farm in Misnola, wherever it is, apparently he have a townhouse in Farley Head, he have a townhouse in Gary Griffith Head, and probably Kamla Head too. Plenty of them. So when time property tax come around, Dr. Oli have plenty property tax to pay. All them heads that he living in rent-free. So they now have to come up with a schedule to tell him how much rent was the property tax he had to pay. Living in the head. David Nakid, Anil Roberts, all them heads Dr. Oli living in. Right? But where are the men and women of letters in Tobago to tell Farley pat down? Where are they? Mrs. Mormiggins, I know you very well. I know you too well. I don't know if it is that you decided you're not going to be a part of the politics anymore. But I mean, come on now, man. If Barnes could come out and say this is the worst administration, plenty of all you thinking the same thing but wouldn't come out and say it. Where is Donna Haddad? When it was the PNM, every Monday morning she have a commentary to make sure on CNC3 and TV6. When last I hear from her? When last I hear from Donna Haddad? Nothing to say. Now and again, she might say something when it affects her sector. But otherwise to that, she good. Allow it to continue. Gallivanting and jaunting all over the place, all over the world, they go and say they're selling and marketing Tobago. But you come down here the other day to say you're walking around the PIC now in Center of Excellence. You were the same one who were contemplating when I see you abandon the something akin to a Tobago embassy in Trinidad. After you spend $1.2 million in rent, decide now we ain't going through with that again. We ain't going through with that again. Right? But forgetting a significant part of the subvention or the monies that you all get every year, Farley, to spend how you want to spend it, comes from taxpayers in Trinidad. You have Tobago taxpayers contributing to it too. But the majority of it comes from the taxpayers in Trinidad, who are saying you don't want. Same Trinidad that's in a hot mess, Farley. Well, then don't come here. And since you don't want the worst part is the socialization of its people. You don't want us socializing with Tobagonians. But if we come across there, Farley, to spend our money, we had to socialize with the Tobagonians. Because when you go to, what it is, Jade Monkey, or whatever it is the name of the club. They don't say, well, that side is for Trinidad and that side for Tobagonians. I assume everybody mingles, right? When we go to the hotel, they don't say, well, these rooms are for Trinidad and these rooms are for Tobagonians. And I'm pretty sure most of the Tobagonians probably go into those guest houses and stuff because they live in there. When we go to rent the cars, when we come across there, they say, well, nah, them, you see those cars, that's for the Trinidad and the rest is for the foreigners. So everything now, segregation. Tobagonians only, Trinidadians only. Is that how we're going to do it, Farley? So we realize now your father passing something with Eric Williams or whatever, and he have a hatred for the PNM ever since. And like he passed that down to you too. What really going on? Who really calling him out? And he continues with this foolishness. So you just decided to do a live. I wonder what Martin George had to say about this. Is this responsible talk of a national leader? The head of the THA? We're really telling the people at Tobago. put Visine in our water when we come. You want to rehash and revive that statement? Put Visine in the water and give them diarrhea, Farley? So is it now that when we come to Tobago for a little vacation, you need to walk with a suitcase, with a case of blue waters or Dasani? We ain't drinking no water in the room because we don't know what's in it. So we have to walk with our own water, Farley. We have to watch the food circumspect and wonder, I wonder if they spit in it. That's what you promoting. So we have to work with our own food too. So we ain't staying in a hotel where food is prepared. We only staying in guest house with a kitchen, it have a stove, and we could cook. Otherwise, that is what you fueling in Tobago, Farley. This hatred, this level of suspicion between Trinidadians and Tobagonians that didn't exist before. And even if it did exist, it was not forefront. But you now have created an environment where those who are so inclined will come out and see what it is that they have to say about Trinidadians and express, because if the chief sec says so, who is we? Who is we? If he could say it, well, we could say it too, and we support our chief sec. And that is a responsible government in Tobago, as you love to use it. Government. The Tobago government. And you're ably supported by the rest of your bubblehead minions who always stand up behind you. Two of them who get arrested the other day. Pastor Baines, is this what the Lord preached? Separation, Pastor? You supporting this, Pastor? Pastor Baines, does the Lord sanction this? All of the members of the SDA, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, of which Farley is a proud member, you all sanction this? That kind of talk? Trinidad in a mess? You don't want Tobago to come like Trinidad? I just asking earlier, is that what you all preach on the pulpit? Because do you support your Honorable Chief Sec in these utterances? I just asking the question. Right? But that is what you call, according to Wall Street, Anselm LeBon, transformational leader. Transformational leader. And Wall Street, that is what you call a transformational leader. Oh yes, he's definitely hell-bent on transforming Tobago and transforming the relationship, the long-standing relationship between Trinidad and Tobago. But let me tell you something, Farley. Trinidadians have a tendency, right, if you don't know them, to be very bad mind. And they will hold you in mind, right? When you see they have had enough, they say, to hell with you. Me going to go there. There are other places I could go, other Caribbean countries I could spend my money on. And whose economy is going to suffer? Remember, the Tobago economy depends heavily on domestic tourism. So when you see next year come around, next year Easter, and the boat empty, and the planes empty, don't scratch your head and wonder why that happened, Farley. So you continue along this line, continue along the track that you're going. That is a very good one. And all who are advising you and telling you that is a good way to go, you continue with them as advisors. Go ahead. I don't know if your father advising you the same way. And the rest of them, yes, you're on a good path, Farley. Get them nasty, dirty P&M, get them. Continue. See where it will take you. Right? And all the upholders in Tobago, once upon a time when we used to say we hold Tobago at a higher standard, we still know we have people in Tobago who still maintain that standard. But like the numbers dwindling. P&M only have work to do in Tobago. Good morning to Kelvin Morris and Ansel Dennis. I don't envy all that. 7701763. Right. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Go ahead. I hear you.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hear you. Go ahead. Loud and clear.
All right. I am very, very happy. Very happy. In fact, enthused a while ago, about 10, 15 minutes ago, that Farley called a few names of Tobagonians who have had frictions with former prime ministers down in Trinidad here. This little idiot called whoever was the chief secretary there, had a problem with Pandey. With Pandey, I want him to take very careful note. Let me remind him of something, because he says about 37, 38. You're too young to know. And the people who could elucidate him, especially Pamela Nicholson. And I'll tell you why I itemized Pamela Nicholson. Let me tell you what happened. In 1995, as we all know, Robinson gave Pandey the 2 seats. It was 17-17-2 in that general election. Robinson gave Pandey the 2 Tobago seats to give him 19 and the majority, 19 and 17. It was a 36-seat parliament in those days, 1995. He gave Pandey the 2 seats. And let me tell Farley something. Part of the arrangement in giving Pandey the prime minister's job was that the new government, it was a UNC-NAL, a UNC-DAC coalition really. One of the terms involved was that Pandey must give Tobago 2 seats in the 2 senators' positions in the Senate. He must give us 2 senators from Tobago. Well, let me tell Farley something. Almost immediately upon becoming prime minister, within a few months, there was a difference of opinion between Pandey and the 2 Tobago senators. And you know what happened? Pandey fired the 2 Tobago senators immediately. Immediately. Well, Farley wouldn't know that. But Sister Pam would know that. She would know that. Because she was part of the social contract between Robinson, Pamela Nicholson, and the 17 UNC people, and Pandey. Pandey fired the 2 Tobago senators. Fire them. And I'll tell you something. That is where the bitterness and the friction began between Pandey and Robinson. And it festered and festered and festered until 2001. Because remember, Pandey made Robinson president in 1997, eh?
Yes.
He kicked him upstairs. And Robinson never forget what Pandey did to him. He never forgot. So that when there was the 1818 cry in 2001, and Pandey told Robinson, well, partner, you make the final decision. Robinson said, you and Manning go in the Hyatt and sit down and talk and whatever. Pandey came back and said, we cannot resolve anything. And he said, President, you make the decision. And Robinson made the decision. And he gave his reasons. Streams into rivers and this and that and the other. He was talking about the wanton corruption from Pandey in that airport project and the firing of the 2 Tobago senators. Robinson remembered that. And that is why he gave Manning the prime ministership in 2001. And this little boy, stupid and innocent and unknowing as he is, he's coming today to talk about Pandey and Robinson. Well, that is the explanation. When everybody attended Robinson's funeral at Napa, well, part 1 of his funeral, Pandey refused to go. That's 2014. That is in 14. Right? Pandey refused to go, and he said afterwards that to this day, he has never forgiven Robinson for taking the government away from him because he said he had the popular vote. So when this little boy talk about fiction, get your information, your facts right, do your research, and then come and talk to me. Come and talk to me. Because you don't know what you're talking about. I'm still with you. You are talking about the Commissioner of Police, an independent office. Commissioner of Police of Trinidad and Tobago, in case you didn't know, and Tobago. You are saying that she wearing PNM bloomers? She wearing PNM bloomers? And you're referring to Dr. Rowley as that bald-haired man down in Whitehall? That bald-haired man? And telling police officers, it was in the papers in recent weeks, you are not welcome in Tobago. You are not welcome in Tobago. And we will drag you before the court for coming and searching people's houses in Tobago. We will drag you before the court. Those are Farley's words, not mine. Those are Farley's words, damn fast and disrespectful little boy. As you said, Dr. Rowley could be his father because he'll be 74 years in October this year. And to close off, let me just say a word to Masha Walker. Masha Walker, do you remember that Anita Haynes was voted in by the party membership as the PRO of the UNC? You remember midway in her term, suddenly we realized that Anita Haynes is no longer the PRO, and suddenly Kurt Mayhew becomes the PRO. Has Bissetta ever given an explanation publicly to the UNC membership who voted in Anita Haynes for making that sweeping, irrational change unexplained? Now, Masha Walker, look at you. Do you see any familiarity between you and Anita Haynes? You notice, I'm not talking race, but look at you and look at Anita Haynes. Any different? Both of you all are Douglas, but you see this Bissetta, what she wanted was purity of race. Purity of race. That's why she moved you, Anita Haynes, and could make you a full-blooded Indian. And where are you today? Look at you, smarting and crying like a little wounded puppy who ain't get a little saucer of milk. Look at you. That is why you are treated like a dog and a pariah in the UNC today. Mr. Romain, thank you for the opportunity, and good morning, and others would want to get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Hold on, Brian. Hold on. Yes, no. Yeah, Brian, 1 sec. Brian. Yeah, just hold on 1 second. I just need to switch over something here. Yeah. Let me see this here. Yeah, Brian, go ahead. Brian, go ahead.
Right. Pleasant good morning again, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to your listeners and viewers and callers. Dominic, it is a sad day when we forget where we came from. And apparently it appears as though the people of Trinidad and Tobago need to be reminded of our past, lest we forget and do the same thing in the future. Because many of us have a 90 mentality. I keep saying that all the time, and that has been said by many people. It's a cliche being used by a lot of people around Trinidad and Tobago and around the world. That we have a 90 mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, and I know you have it there,
Mm-hmm.
when Masha Walker was protesting by the parliament and calling up Dr. Rowley's name and threatening him. I said, no, your police and them put me behind the barrier in the cage in Woodford Square. It's not like I will go listen. But you're nasty this and you're what she uses expletives. But it was the worst I have ever heard from her. And she has accused Dr. Rowley of all sorts of things as far as a mother and a grandmother and an aunt and all kind of things concerned. Nasty to the core. But you see, people like them, according to Mr. Well, I'll just say what Mr. E said in a different way. You call her the potong in chief?
Yes.
But today she has graduated to, you know what? Dustbin terrier. So now she is in the dustbin. As all of them have been put by Kamla Prasad Bissessa. Kamla Prasad Bissessa, Mr. Yates, don't have to explain nothing to anybody. That cult, as Devon Mirage indicated yesterday on I-95.5 on Darian Marcel's show, it's not a party, it's a cult, a cult leader. And if you are using the word cult, you must always don't misunderstand what I'm saying, you know. So you have a cult party with cult members led by a cult leader. All you please, I'm begging all you, don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
Don't mix up your consonants.
Yes. You understand?
Yes.
And therefore, she don't have to explain nothing because it made TV6 last night too. So Masha Walker has been unceremoniously kicked out. And saying that, oh, she go only come back when this leader who she put up on a pedestal, this leader who was so royal. You understand? That Dr. Rowley was the worst thing in the world, and Kamla Prasad Bissessa was the best thing, better than sliced bread with butter. But today, where are you today, Masha Walker? In the dustbin. You graduate from a bottom to a dustbin terrier, although they say the same thing. But let us show you where you are today. And this is an example of where all of you Negroes are going to end up. Look at Joseph Tony. Thought he would get that chairmanship. Maybe he might still get it. I don't know in Sandy Grande. But look at what's going on up inside of there. 3 weeks after the local government election, who is the mayor of Shabonas? Who is the mayor of the borough of Siparia? Tell us. And that is the party of they want to support us. Them we have a hot mess in Trinidad and the PNM is in a mess. And really, we have not learned. We haven't learned. And this is the road we will continue down if we don't sit down and listen and learn. You understand? And we have to understand exactly what Kamla Prasad is attempting to do with respect to Tobago. What she's attempting to do is segregate because she wants Tobago and Trinidad segregated, and Farley wants that too because Farley understands that he has made mistakes and he don't want nobody to come and tell him not to put him in jail. He don't want to Trinidad police put him in no jail. So he's making it look as though it's we against them or them against we. And that is not so. Because people of Tobago must understand there can be no separation because there are certain things in the Constitution that cannot happen just as simple as only believe it can happen. Farley is fooling all you. I want to ask you one simple question. Who do you think controls the air traffic in Tobago? When the flying fish problem what they had recently, who they was calling? They was calling Farley or they was calling the Honorable Prime Minister? Who? Farley is leading all down a road of segregation, and that cannot happen. But he's putting it in all your head. He's using up all your little bit of space where all you're supposed to be thinking independently. And all you need to understand that. What has Farley done in the almost 3 years that he has been there in office? What has he built? What has he done for the people of Tobago to benefit the people of Tobago except fire one set of people? But the $10 million that each constituency, as they call it, or province, or whatever you call it, or county, would have had to have, they all get any money yet? You spoke about the Gracia payment that up to now nobody ain't get yet. Whether it's at one point, whether it's $1,000, $1,200 or whatever, nobody ain't get no money yet. But Farley busy flying all over the place and having a good time. He and his friends. And the Wilfred G James, who had nothing good to say during the night of the local government election vis-a-vis San Fernando, he had get bright when he thought that to be lost San Fernando, the PNM lost.
Yes.
And he predicted it, but when he get the results, he could see how he paused and his shoulders drop. And this is the stupidity because they are putting stupidness in Farley's head. And we have to understand that a country divided cannot stand, and there are people, they are using the same mantra, Cambridge Analytica from the UNC. Kamala Prasad Bisesa is driving that. And that is what people have to understand and making Farley believe that don't worry, when we separate, no Trinidad police could come and hold you. You don't worry about that, we go fix that. But Kamala Prasad Bisesa does not care about Farley. And we're going to soon understand that. It's about her getting what she wants to help she and her friends. That is what it is about. It's not about Trinidad and Tobago because it's a cult leader running a cult. That is all she cares about, those people around her. And the faster we understand that, the better for Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much, Dominic. Have a great day. Looking forward to listening to you tonight.
Thank you. Right, let's see here. 770-1763. And it says, Farley better read up on the man who had so much grain and built huge barns to store up the grain. When the Lord said, thou fool, tonight thou soul will be required of thee. Eat, drink, and be merry. Tomorrow you die. Indeed. So, hello, good morning. Yes, morning.
Yeah, the morning.
Yes, sir, morning.
Yeah,
morning.
Hi,
good man.
Yeah, just for to say that we are in a dangerous place in this country, you know, with people, you know. There's a lot of people in this country who want to see nothing go right.
Yes.
Yeah, I recognize that because the most nonsense a little bit okay. I can't believe he was a school teacher. Kamala Prasad also can't believe she is a lawyer. The kind of nonsense and people gravitating to this nonsense, people who, but anyhow, we really feel that how you can have a degree and still be an idiot, right?
Yes.
And that is a fact. I realize that now. Because so much accessibility. Now, I want to say something also. You know, I want to back up my say to something that he had said in our program already, right? That was concerning this guy they call Pastor Dutton. When I say it in the channel this morning, I pull, you know, I was on YouTube when I watch something about Tobago review, some kind of thing going on. Flash and down and watch a little. But you know, they could call, they always be calling, or they don't have a open field, always a kind of, what is it called again? But they're not open.
Yeah.
They only on one thing, like, bringing people who could talk about for them.
Right.
And you know, in sense that, you know, I hear Pastor that this man's a man I wasn't. Remember, you know, talk about Pastor Bean and Farley from the apprenticeship. You know what I hear Pastor that say? We really trouble. Pastor Dutton saying, no, that's why I could understand when Mary say that Pastor Dutton was really a politician because he went endorsing Taliban at one time and also endorsing Munila. So he really is a politician. And these people, we run into them and play at all these parts and they have a balance you. But they have no balance you. Hear what this man saying. So he's seeing that they're coming after Farley and Farley is a young man and how they're attacking Farley. No, tell me something. These people for real, Farley put himself in trouble from day one. He's looking for a fight. But you know, I'm saying that how they find they Farley have been getting theater. You see how biased these people is, Dominic?
Yes. Correct.
This person ever come out to talk for me. I don't want to hear them because I just tune off because them fellas is proper tune off. Fellas is politicians. Them Them fellas on the moon talking, I mean, saying that they like God. They may really like God because God ain't no biasness, right? They may no pastor. So I just tell you, boy, is something really wrong with these people. You say that Farley, yeah? That's how you find it. I'm going after Farley and this and the valley that young man. What nonsense. He's a young man, so he could do all this stupidness and talk nonsense.
Yes.
And leave him. That and nobody must interfere. So Farley's up all himself. Nonsense talk with these people. And they encouraging the nonsense. You know? They are the system ball, you know, they encouraging because you see, they don't respect authority. They don't respect authority. Right? So you're making the youth and them, as you say, and then now you have a man like Pastor Justin and this being fella, all these fellas, when you listen to them, these fellas are real nonsense, and they encouraging society to rail upon stupidness. And I'm going to tell you something, I want to say before I leave, long time, we will talk about certain things about promoting ignorance, but this is what the UNC and this Tobago party doing, promoting ignorance. They want people to be done and feeding them, you know, so they're promoting ignorance right too. So that's why we have a society just now with people only, law mean nothing to them, the right thing mean nothing, you know? So I just saying we're in a dangerous place. So we only have to pray to God and who could able to try and fix it, that the voices could be heard because these people are saying nothing. Thanking you, Dominic, for allowing me for contribution of this smoke. You take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Pati Kutu says pasture being, not pastor. You know, as long as Farley there, his pocket good. But he can fool man, but not God Almighty. Indeed, so true. So true. Cynthia says Farley better recognize how the great Trump's accusers now are his own Republican cult followers who are now before the court and turning against him, looking to see their own necks. Let's see. Hello, morning.
Hello.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Oh, go here now. This program hot to get in, boy. Oh.
Very good, boy.
Yeah, now, don't launch the ball to study the full line. But anyway, I must say, it's a great program, so people in tune. I think monitor all the listeners and the viewers and callers. Right, well, I must say, first of all, thank God for that little shower that fall. Hold on there. What is that? Alright. Yes. I must say, thank God for the little rain that we getting right now because, oh God, Dominic, boy, oh God.
Heat in the place.
It was needed right now. It's not really for the spin right now. So, guys, coming for the spin, you're going to get little blessings to start your day. Right. I want to answer Brian's question. Who is the mayor of Shugwanas and these places? The mayor of Shugwanas and Separia is the same crooks, super back there. That you fight Mohammed and Donald Miru. Because I got to understand in the Separia borough that Sangastan in the Separia borough that Sanga Singh was supposed to be the mayor. And you know, Donald Miru have his terms and conditions with Kamla. He said if he pull back the problems.
You know, long do not beg him for that one.
Kamla have to bow to him to put back Donald Miru. So he is the mayor of Hypocrisy will be in Sangre Grande and Separia for mayor, chairman. I'm not the mayor, for chairman and all I want to, like I say, the people vote for that. It's party before country. So they mean business, whoever they put in. Once my party is the corporation, you understand? And well, you see, Farley, I am going to tell that man, he's a consummate fool. Right? Because for you to be, all my years I lived in Trinidad Tobago, I never hear a chief secretary behave or that man behave. And you know, Dominic, there Tobago is coming up in 3 months' time.
Right.
How much people them think going to come there Tobago Carnival in that month from outside? Majority of the people that leave Trinidad and go across there. Right now, all the artists for the launching come Thursday for Independence. Where they from? Where they from? Tobago? Farley? Where Bungie and Fayan from? Where am I from? But you want to make sense when you're talking and talking with sense. You understand, Shredder? Fab. He's a disgrace right now to Tobago and talking with sense. You understand, Shredder? Fab. He's a disgrace right now to Tobago. And it have these old heads like Mother Bernie and them supporting this foolishness. Why? Because all they have a hate for the PNM. It's not about the PNM. It's about getting the job done. And that was all the faith to understand and realize. You understand? And I just say, people, we have 2 years to battle. Let me keep focus. Dominic, you continue doing you, Juliet, and Google and everybody. Let me continue to do what we're doing. Because if we let up, it will be problematic in this country. And the person you're following is not Donna Haddad, it's Diane Hadid.
It's who? Nice, Donna
Diane
Haddad.
Hadid.
Haddad.
Donna Haddad is the comedian. Diane Hadid is the woman for the Tobago thing that business association.
Yeah, Diane. It's Diane Haddad. Yeah, she's Haddad too.
Haddad or Hadid? It's
Haddad. She's a Haddad, yeah. Yeah.
All right, good program as usual. Love to listen.
Yeah, man. One 763. Philomena says, "Good morning, family. To Trinidad, people have to go to Tobago. Give them a break this year. All they want to kill Tashia. Bring back Burna Boy, man. Trini's gonna run across there. Spend the money to see Burna." Hello, good morning. Morning.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Morning.
Yeah, morning, Dominic. Morning. Great show again, boy. Great show.
Thank you.
I want to ask Farley something. Since Farley, control and he always, very disrespectful to the Prime Minister. He doesn't follow, so he doesn't follow the protocols of the office and the respect of holders. He's open with it. Now we have so much murders happening in Tobago and it is increasing. Who don't blame time? Dr. Roy?
Yeah.
He is responsible now. What is he doing? Right? Because he said when the CPS and them come in there, he's sending the thing and them to stop them and all that I think from morning secretary. That's kind of rubbish. You see, these people that doesn't understand the governance of the country and how it governs, because everything works with a link. In order for the Tobago economy to move, you have to be in sync for the wheels to tip. And right now, Farley is like you put a spook in that wheel. It is telling at all, and they will also have bad governance. And the question really, Paul asked that and thing, Parliament. How long Farley in the office as she said?
Almost 2 years.
She's on ages. And nothing happened in Tobago, only bacchanal and confusion.
Yes.
I must say, you see Tobagonians and them, they are belly. They are real belly good. Because they're sitting at home, and they're waiting for him to call an election. When the time reaches, you call the election, you have to call it. And then they will deal with him. But in the meantime, they're saying, no, I'm taking all that jamming.
Yep.
I'm sorry for them, but that central government tells them because there's such things that central government in charge of. Because I saw where the young girl who got killed in Tobago, my condolences go to the family.
Yes.
And I listened to kid, and that kid is calling on the government and what the government has to do with that. And the government is doing nothing, look how they go and using the eyes of the girl. And I don't think you understand the story behind that. Because right now, as it is, it's illegal to have these weapons without a permit from the police commissioner. And they
based on the story that is coming out, let me just not focusing only on the young girl and that incident, but I'll just make up my own assessment of it. That if you have a illegal farm, what you doing in effect with a legal farm in first place? Those nightclubs and there's those security checks to screen people when they come in, because that used to be a thing that in the nightclubs in Trinidad that they do where they are the security guards and then will check if some of them have these little people in the hand.
Right.
Any object that they think when it beeps, they actually open the door, pull out their pockets and see what's happening. These people have this thing there because they can't get away, but they have answers to questions, they have questions to answer too. Because the girl is a minor. And the country law is not an excuse, because even though she may look like she's over the age, it's under their control to ensure that these things don't happen, and you have to have a real good story and a good alibi, but you still have questions to answer. But you know, you think, then you have to also look at the parents. I mean, is she from a single parent, or she living with other family? And when you ask where you're going, who you're going with, what time you're coming back, so I can expect anything or just tell you, no, but you're going to have we're going to party in a nightclub. I think with the age, you're not over the age, you can't go. It's all falls back on the family.
Yes.
So everybody has a part to play in the demise of the young girl. Young boy who left his home with his family. I wonder if they know that he had an illegal farm. You know, because that, and I sorry to you, I know he regrets every moment that what happened there.
Yes.
And I know that he, you know, would be, honestly, I feel real sorry for him. But we have a problem with murders in this country. We have a problem with illegal farm in this country. And I mean, as much as I want to pardon him, I can't. Because it's just not about him. It's about other youths who will do the same thing. They hear about that, and they will do the same thing. They will put a gun in the waist and go to the road and walk around this with it, with that bar with it, and come back out, and they'll go over the place with that illegal farm in the way.
Yes.
And how do we curb that? We have to enforce the law. You don't go in and pardon nobody and feel sorry for this one, or God, he comes from a good family and everything, and his career thing that he. But honestly, I feel the same, and I think, but I have to on the side of the law, because we have, it's not about him, it's about the problem of the guns in this country. We have to get serious and deal with illegal firearms and things. So I see and them as if all those who listen, all the parents and them who listen, I see children to put down the guns and to use that scenario as an example, because he just didn't murder a person that he didn't know. He murdered somebody that he known and know you would have loved the person. He would have regretted it, picking that gun in his waist and going out to the set with it. He may even regret he getting done with guns in the first place. So this is, you have to get him across to the youth of them. There's no room for that, and there are things that the government is putting in place. How much people in Tobago is lobbying the government for lands in Tobago to plant, because Tobago have good soil for planting and these things, and these youths and them, how much of them? How much are doing it? Because Tobagonians, one thing I can say about Tobagonians, when you see that ship coming on the dock, and there used to be a blood price or whatever it is, because my father used to marketing board. Marketing board was a section of the government used to go wrong, and when Eric Williams had all the farmers and them in from bamboo straight up the water field, the pig farming, it was really organized. Alright, Rangares, all those places, Tobago. You know what vision used to come out from Tobago, and we still love the blue steel used to get from Tobago. You don't get it no longer again because they start getting lazy. Well, let me retract that. I don't know if it is, but for some reason they're not planting again. And if they do, the two planting is enough that they can export to Trinidad in a bulk. But we still see they have a lot of the sheep farming and all these things, but they need help. And the government is willing to help them, but help the youth because they want to have future. I won't give out and tell man a piece of land and that because you don't know how long you will last. But if you give a youth who's in 20s or late teens, and you set him up with land and house and everything, and he goes to business, and he has his workers, and he's saying that you invest in the future, and we could change our diet, and we know the American foods, and start eating local, and drop the US currency of important foods that is full of certain nitrates and all these certain preservatives that giving us the cancer and all kind of nonsense. So we'll have it will triple down in the long run. So 20 years from now, we'll have a healthier society. But it all starts with the youth and then has to be disciplined. No longer we should back them, use them to be with gangs and going into waste and just want to wind that action, and you living on this corner, the next one, the next block, you want to kill he because he in a different gang. All that nonsense and stuff. The gangs must be in the fields working the thing and only working and making money and feeding the nation. That's the kind of gangs you want, man. Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you, sir. See, 51. I could probably take a couple more. 770-1763. Taran Well, good morning. Elizabeth Ramtahal, good morning to you. Candice Joseph, morning. Yes. 770-1763. There was someone calling just now. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, 685, you can call me back. Right. So, yeah. So, yeah, 770-1763, going once, going twice. Dr. DC, that's easy. Oh gosh, I like that one. Oh boy. Hello, good morning. Jenny, morning.
Morning. To also appearance today on one of the hottest morning internet programs. The Salaga radio station now.
Yes.
TV station. I just want to ask, I have christened Farley the Prime Minister of the teaching. I have christened Pastor the Demon Beings, and all his followers, brides and grooms of Dracula. I want to ask the Prime Minister of Tobago if he knew that there was time in the history of Tobago when it was bankrupt, that they had no money. The colonials or the slave masters were selling land at the outside because of the fact that sugar in Moscato and all the things that Tobago was selling, that Europe really had no need for it no more, and that's what they were trading. They wasn't getting any money. So Tobago had come to a halt. Nothing was happening. Although at one time they were the jewel. Trinidad was a late starter in the sugar industry. And when they started in 1790-something, when Spain had done this to develop population, inviting the French and the enslaved Africans to this country to develop the sugarcane industry, Trinidad became on the map doing sugar. And then when England took over Trinidad and Tobago was bankrupt, that is how Tobago became a ward of Trinidad. I want to know if Farley is aware of that history, because they don't really produce anything that could sustain them. They depend on tourism, mainly domestic tourism. They do not have the human capacity. They may have the intellectual persons, but they do not have the human capacity to really start and do things that they want to do. In a population of 60,000, we have about 40,000 now voters, the rest are children. And they expected, if there is a breakaway from Trinidad, to exist, because just a simple case of the flying fish, the fishermen of Tobago didn't ask the Prime Minister of the TJ in the help. They asked Dr. Dr. Rowley to intervene. So if a small issue like that, they can even help themselves. You will tell me they break away from Trinidad, and just a thought, let domestic tourism stop now. What will happen to the ferry? Who will be transporting when they will go to Grenada? Grenada didn't even come down to the Carnival. So Farley needs to be very careful. I understand the need for some type of autonomy. That's okay. Everybody did. But you have to be diplomatic, you have to be respectful, and you have to have the intelligence to be able to negotiate, and he doesn't possess none of that. And all who fall in Farley, all the jails are not supposed to be intellectual. They better think and think carefully, because if we were to say we ain't coming to Tobago Carnival, what Carnival? When Easter come, we're not going to Tobago for 2 weeks. What is going to happen to Tobago? So I think they need to rethink. The Prime Minister need to rethink his behavior and rethink his attitude. And all who pumping them up, all of them will fall very hard if they continue with this, because it's not Tobago nobody recognize. Trinidad and Tobago. And when they come in to speak to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody will go across to meet no monster in Tobago to talk nothing but the development of Trinidad and Tobago. So Farley need to stop it, or he'll have to ship out. Good morning, Dominic. God bless you.
Thank you, Jen. Yes, all enablers, all the Tobago enablers. All they're doing. What's all they're doing? Chinese bad mind when you're ready. Eh? Let's see all what one. Right. I could take one more, two more. 685. Come back. Training. So very true. You see here. Let's see. Today's Express uproar. Randy. We don't want Tony. UNC activists have expressed disappointment that former National Security Minister Joseph Tony has been bypassed the chair of Sangre Corporation. There is also contention with the resignation of the UNC activist Masha and her call on opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar to resign. Walker was the party's Glencoe Goodwill Operator candidate in the 2023 local government election. Tony, who was tipped to the SGRC chairman, that changed when the UNC circulated its list of alderman choices, and his name was not on the list. Let's see here. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dominic, how are you?
Hi, good man.
Dominic, man, good program as usual.
Thank you.
Educating the masses. Dominic, boy, I don't know what to say about this UNC. But it's very, very sad. But what happened very disturbed is what you talk about cult and things like that.
Yes.
You know? A cult of personality. So when I was reading this thing, and to talk to the leader, they branded a traitor.
Yes.
I thought Mr. Man and Dr. Rowley were dictators. But reading the thing there, other people with Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Again, and people that say it's Jack Warner who brought up this lady, the UNC. But blame had also be blamed on your former leader of the party. When Club 18 decided to contest the 1991 general election, she was within her, and she lost at the. It only went back to Japan as an opposition senator, but Japan is to be blamed for that too. What did Party Party see on this lady to decide to bring her into the party? No. And no, she's basically like a devil. She's basically like a goddess of that party.
Yep.
This is very disturbing, and he said to be said. Because we've been hearing stories about certain people with their alternative lifestyles. They won all there, and we still voted for them people.
Yep.
Well, we have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
I see the White House it's told people about lifting temporarily the sanctions on Venezuela.
Okay.
And we have to start taking a closer attention to that and what does that mean for Trinidad and certain things. Would mean it be more than just the dragon fields. We tend to benefit a lot from it, and because we're part of that are the sanctions in the United States and them is putting a lot of US currency that belongs to Venezuela. And if they can get that to use and they can help build back the investors setting up shop in Venezuela, and starting business across there, and a lot of the Venezuelans and they will go back home where they have their interest to building back their lives. So we stand to benefit a lot from that, and we have to start looking at that because it soon it will happen. Because the pressure is on the United States now to start looking at things differently because of BRICS. They have a lot of they're more educated. It will mean that Kamala political strength because she still recognized what she
reason that he is seeking. So true. So, folks, let me thank you all for this morning for joining me. I stayed on a little longer than I had planned to. Priscilla, on his that he's sharing on WhatsApp. I suppose we are of like minds. So, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. It appears that the UN says that we no longer under global warming, is now global fall out there. Walk with your umbrellas and so forth. TNTech smiling all the way to the bank, but it is what it is. So, yes, enjoy your day. Keep safe and join me this evening, and then Thursday morning, God's willing. Join me this evening, and then Thursday morning, God's willing, we will chat again. Yeah, so that's it for me today. Thank you all so much.